Hi, good morning, everybody. I just wanted to say hello, full face, before going over to my presentation, which was uh, having to do with writing and how it was presented in both the ORTESOL and the ACTFL conference catalogs in 2019. Starting with ORTESOL, I found writing to be represented in about 11% of all presentations, which, of course, since it was a small conference, that means that I counted about 6 presentations having to do with writing. Half of them, unfortunately, represented writing as something painful for students. Looking at the selection as a whole, 2 of the presentations concerned techniques to improve student editing, and here's where the pain was. Uh, they used the word struggle and painful. One Going further, one of presentations was a task design for plagiarism-proof assignments. Again, I guess inherent in that is the idea that students would rather plagiarize than come up with or go through the pain of coming up with their own work. And then the other 3 selections dealt with an academic writing model. One dealt with accessibility, tech for students with disabilities. And then one was actually creativity based. It was writing through art, in this case, clay pinch pots. So there was quite a bit regarding the editing and the plagiarism proof assignment and the academic writing model. There was quite a bit of emphasis on academia or academics. What I found missing were presentations on community adult ESL, nothing to do with heritage speakers, again, non-academic writing as a focus, and very little student-centered focus, and little joy or creative process. When it came to choosing between the ACTFL and the TESOL conferences, why I chose to look at ACTFL instead of TESOL was I was interested in seeing how writing is being taught in other languages, meaning from different angles, not just teaching English to speakers of other languages teaching. I thought I might see writing represented in broader terms. So looking at the ACTFL conference catalog, I found that writing presentations again figured even less than at ORTESOL. I counted up only about 4% of all presentations. It had to do with writing. Also, over 3/4 of all presenters were university affiliated. There was one definite collaboration between university staff and high school educators. Let's see. Also, studies represented at least 1/4 of all presentations, but their subject matter did not all involve university level instruction. In fact, close to 1/2 of all the presentation material was either deemed by the presenters or inferred by me to be applicable to all proficiency levels. So regarding what was missing, there was no community adult ESL, no low literacy, no mixed level writing presentations that I could find, although I suppose this makes more sense here because it is an American Council conference held in America for teachers of foreign languages. Little scaffolding, little to no corpus work, no accessibility, and then surprisingly few, I guess, considering tradition, surprisingly few writing form presentations, meaning argument essays or presentational work. I found very little of that, just I think 2 out of the 40 presentations. What I did find was a theme kind of motivation work versus looking at achievement. And actually, motivation won out about 5 to 1 of the presentations. So it ended up being a very learner-centered selection of workshops, discussions, posters, presentations in toto. 6 of them had to do directly with assessment or proficiency. 4 were of feedback, but not of teacher feedback, most of them. They were collaborative feedback presentations, sometimes having to do with using tech, like Google Docs, for peers to collaborate on giving each other feedback. There were 4 presentations for heritage speakers, a range of subject matter, and then 4 with connections to cultural aspects, teaching writing using cultural aspects. 6, a pretty decent representation, had to do with tech or social media. Half of those were tools usually to help students to tell stories. On a similar vein, there were 7 workshops that I counted, or discussions or panels, using creativity as inspiration or as practice for writing. And that included journal writing, creative writing, things like that. Film, drama. And then I guess the largest representation concerned the process of writing, and ways to get at that process. There was, for instance, experiential learning, project-based learning, using those approaches to get at the writing process. So in that vein, to introduce my choice for a workshop, I looked at writing, at the process of writing. I note, here's my quote, that writing as a skill is often overlooked in the teaching of English to speakers of other languages, or perhaps just in general, but particularly with regard to those speakers of other languages who are not on an academic track. Look at how Brandel didn't even include a chapter on writing. Yet writing is an integral skill. It's all around us, particularly these days with internet communication. And as a skill, the better you can do it, the more likely you are to find success doing it. So, as part of a trend to find that perfect process to tease the written word out of our students, I'll be presenting a workshop on micro writing. Please join me for a micro writing workshop coming to a computer screen near you soon. Thanks very much. Bye.